Hi everyone, welcome back to another Notion video. It's been a while since I filmed one of these, so I'm very excited to be showing you one of my newest creations today. So basically today I'm going to be showing you my master to-do list template that I created for myself when I got back from Asia and I had 500 million things on my mind and I didn't know how to organize everything. So what I ended up doing is I did a huge brain dump with all the tasks I wanted to do, and I think I had about 60 to 70 tasks on that list. And technically when you do a brain dump, it's supposed to help you feel better because you're like, okay, I brain dumped all the things that were on my mind. Now let's just get started and start getting these things off my to-do list. But I just felt more overwhelmed because first of all, I had realized how much there was to do. And second of all, I had no idea how to even start to tackle it. Like I didn't know what tasks should be done first, what should be done second, what should I prioritize. There's also deadlines, but some things are more important than others and all these different things. So what I ended up doing is I created a little system for myself of how to break everything down into like different priorities and deadlines and everything. And then I basically just polished it up, made it into a nice, beautiful page. And I've been very actively using this page for the past week, and it's honestly changed how I go about my days because it's just so clear what I have to do next. I feel like we just have to get straight into it because it's honestly such a good system, and I'm very excited about the fact that I invested the time to make this because I'm gonna be using this myself every single day for the next I don't know how long. Okay, so jumping straight into the page, this is what our main page looks like. So we're just gonna first walk through the home page so that you can get a feel for all the different sections of the page. So the first section that we see right here is called Today's Flow. This is just focused on everything you have to do today, everything you've completed, and also how you've spent your time over the last week. That's just there in case you need a little bit of motivation to get you going. Our next section is called Inbox and Planning. So this is the main planning area that you have for yourself. So when you first add a new task, like for example, there's this quick capture that you can use right here, which lets you add a new task very quickly. It's gonna automatically go into this page. So this is where we sort out all the tasks, we figure out how important they are, how urgent they are, whether they have any deadlines, whether it's a quick task, whether it's a task that has to be broken down. Everything that needs to be kind of organized in terms of your tasks, it is done here. The next section is called Overview. This is where you can just get an overview of all your tasks based on different things. So for example, you can just see your upcoming tasks for the next couple of days. You can see your priorities. So what is the main priority? What are next up? What are things that you should hold off? Your due dates, tasks that you can do that would be considered like a quick win, tasks that are high return on investment. So different ways to see your tasks, but this is not necessarily where the main planning happens. The main planning happens in the section that we just saw before. And our last section is called System Health, and this is where you can catch any mistakes in the way that you scheduled out your tasks. Okay, so moving back to the top of our page, I actually forgot to mention that we also have two other pages here. So we have a Start Here page, which is something that I do with all of my templates nowadays, which is basically like a step-by-step guide on how to set up this page for yourself. So this is where you're gonna do the brain dump and you're gonna evaluate the effort of each task. We're gonna go through this later, but I just wanted to let you know that it's here so that you're not just completely lost if you get this template. And we also have a database guide, which is basically an overview of every single view that you see in the databases here. So if you ever forget what a view means, like for example, if you don't remember what needs sorting means or overdue or dependencies, if you forget what that means, you just go in the database guide and you can see a little explanation of what that view means. And then we also have our navigation right here, which helps us jump between the different sections easily. So when these sections are all closed, it's very easy to navigate because usually this is what I do. Like day to day, I have all of them closed and I just have Today's Flow open. And then at the end of the day, when I'm planning the next day, I will open up like Inbox and Planning. I will open up Overview, make sure everything is okay. But day to day, I actually have them closed because I feel like it's a little bit less overwhelming for my brain. But if you like to have them open and you want to quickly jump to System Health, you can just click it and it will take you to System Health. And then we also have a quick capture button here. So this is just where you press that you want to add a new task. You write in the name of the task. So for example, I'm just going to write an example task. And then this task is going to show up in the needs sorting. So it's all a very smooth system, but let's start with the different views in Today's Flow. So in Today's Flow, we have 5 different views. To do are the tasks that you have to do today. Blocked are the tasks that are blocked by another task. So for example, let's say I need to hoover and mop the kitchen. I cannot mop the kitchen until it is hoovered. So I don't want mop and hoover the kitchen, those two separate tasks. I don't want both of them to come up at the same time because one of them has to be done before the other. And seeing the second one, like seeing mop the kitchen as well as hoover the kitchen, kind of stresses me out. So I just want to see the first step, and the first step is hoovering the kitchen because I cannot mop until I hoover. So anything that is blocked by another task will be here. So you're still going to be able to see it if you want to see what all your tasks for the day are, but it's not going to be in your immediate to-do view and it's not going to be stressing you out. So for example, as I have here, we have example task 2 and then we have example task 3 that is blocked by example task 2. When I finish example task 2, so I'm going to click the button start task and I'm going to also end task, you can see example task 3 just popped up and it's no longer in blocked. So we don't see it until the task that comes before it is done. Another thing that I want to mention on the to-do view is you can see that right here we can see the status of the task and then we can also see two buttons, so start task and end task. The reason we have this is because this page also time tracks all the tasks that you have to do. So when you press start task, it starts time tracking that task, and when you press end task, it stops time tracking. So later when you go back and complete it, you can see how long it took you to do each task. So for example, here I was answering emails. I started at 2 p.m. and I finished at 2:44, so I can see exactly how long it took me. I did not manually input that. I just pressed my buttons. I pressed start task, I pressed end task, and it automatically went in there. And you can even, if you use Notion Calendar, you can connect this to your Notion Calendar and you can then also see this in Notion Calendar. You can literally time block out your day and see what your day looked like with all your tasks being done. But yeah, I really like this feature because I want to see how long everything takes me, because next time I schedule things, I know more or less how long it took me the last time and I start to get a better overview of how long it takes me to do things. And another reason for time tracking your tasks is in the fourth view, you can see the time you spent on the different areas of your life. So for example, my tasks are categorized into like personal tasks, work tasks, all the different type of tasks. And here I can see how long I spent per day working on my tasks and my to-dos. It doesn't mean that I didn't do more work than this, but this is what I tracked using the template. And if I click into it, I can actually see how long I spent on each different area. So for example, on this day, June 4th, 57 minutes were spent on personal tasks, 270 minutes were spent on work Notion tasks. So I can see specifically day to day broken down how long it took me to do everything I wanted to do. And the last view we have is the reset due date. This is for something that you want to maybe push off for another day. So these are tasks that I had scheduled for today. Maybe I don't want to do it today anymore, so I can just reset it and the due date is actually just like reset and it goes back into your to be planned section. Okay, so moving on to the next section, we have inbox and planning, and this is, like I said, where all the actual planning happens. You don't have to check this section many times a day. I would usually use this section the night before when I'm planning out my tasks, and maybe like once or twice during the day, because during the day I'm adding a couple of new tasks, maybe with the quick capture, and I need to quickly sort it. So I have actually a bunch of example tasks here because I think I was just trying to show different things. Okay, so the first view that we have here is called needs sorting. So this is whenever you add a new task, like if I'm adding a task here through quick capture, it's gonna automatically go here because it doesn't have any of these select properties filled out. So we don't know if this is high effort or low effort, high or low importance, what is the urgency, what is the tag, like what area of your life does this task fit into. Notion at this point still has no idea because you just quickly added in a new task and that's all it knows. So tasks are gonna stay here until you assign something for these 4 properties. So you can have an empty due date because maybe you know that it's an important task but you haven't scheduled it in yet, but these 4, effort, importance, urgency, and tags, they have to be filled out or they're not going to leave this table. So let's say, for example, this example task is high effort, high importance, low urgency, and it's a personal task. As soon as I fill out those 4, it's going to disappear from the table and you're going to see it again, obviously, in the overview and stuff, and it's going to be in the ready to schedule, but it's gonna disappear from this table. So the aim is to always have this table as empty as possible because it's only gonna show you the tasks that you added in the last 24 hours. It's not gonna show you all the empty tasks. If you wanna see all the tasks that have this empty, you're gonna be able to also do that in System Health, but but this is only showing you the tasks in the last 24 hours that you added them. Also, I want to highlight the difference between due date and due by, because due date sounds a lot like due date. They have different spellings, but in English they sound the exact same. Due date means that this is the day that you're planning to do the task. This is the day that you're scheduling to do the task. Due by is the deadline. So the reason we have two is because I've noticed a lot of task management systems just have one, and to me that does not make sense because I don't want to do, most of the time, I don't want to do the task on the day of its deadline. Like ideally I would do it much before its deadline, so I have these two as separate. So not everything needs a deadline and not everything needs a due date. So for example, I can have a deadline for this task, but I don't know yet when I want to do it, but I know that it has a deadline. Or it could be the other way around. I can have a task that has a due date, but it doesn't actually have a deadline, but I have an idea of when I want to do it. And then one more thing is we have two buttons here, which I'm gonna explain more later on, but I just want to quickly introduce you to them. So we have the less than 10 minutes button and then also the add subtask button. So less than 10 minutes is if a task is gonna take you less than 10 minutes, like you need to take out your laundry, you need to do your dishes, whatever, you can just click the button. It's gonna automatically come up kind of higher in your list because it's a quick task, and if it's urgent and important, it's gonna be on top because it's easier to do it. And the add subtask button is there for if a task is too big. So let's say I have this task which is clean desktop, downloads, and documents. I might want to break that down into like just clean desktop and then another one for clean downloads and oh my god, I cannot type and speak. So you might want to have them separately, and it automatically also assigns them a low effort because I would assume that this is high effort because it has multiple steps. So if something has too many steps, it's usually high effort. So, and you're going to be able to see that this is related to that task. It's the child of that task. It's like the subtask is what I'm trying to say, not the child. Our second view is ready to schedule. So once you know the importance, you know the urgency, you know the effort, you know your deadlines if there are any, these are going to be the tasks that are ready to be scheduled. And the important thing is it is sorted by how important and urgent it is. So this is why we fill out the importance and the urgency, because most of the time this is where we start getting overwhelmed because we don't know what to start with. But once you know the importance and the urgency for all your tasks, it's much easier because the system just sorts it for you. So like here I can see all the tasks that are important and urgent. So they're high importance, high urgency, they're on top. And then after that, it's also sorted by the deadline. So I'm seeing all the high importance, high urgency on top, and then I also see the one thing with a deadline on top. And then after that, you see the low importance, high urgency, and then high importance, low urgency. So it's gonna go in order. Ideally, if you haven't planned out your next day, you're gonna go here and plan out probably like in the first few tasks, like these are the things that technically should be done first. And once you give something a due date here, it's gonna disappear from the list because it no longer needs to be scheduled because you just scheduled it. The next view that we have is the overdue view. I don't have anything overdue. Let me make something overdue so that I show you how this works. Okay, so this task is now overdue. This basically means you just missed your deadline and you need to do it ASAP, or you need to adjust your deadline. This view ideally would be empty as well. And the last view that we have are dependencies. So like I mentioned earlier, some tasks will depend on other tasks being done in order for you to get started on that task. So for example, you cannot bake a cake until you have all the ingredients that you need in order to buy that cake. So if we have that as an example, let's say example task 2 is to buy ingredients for a cake, and example task 3 is to bake said cake. Buy ingredients for a cake is gonna be blocking bake cake, because until you buy the ingredients, you cannot bake the cake. And bake cake is blocked by buying ingredients. So it can get a little confusing sometimes, but if you kind of say it out loud in your head, like literally you can go step by step. So for example, film decluttering vlog is blocking uploading and editing the decluttering vlog, because I can't edit the video if I haven't filmed the video. I can't upload it if I haven't filmed it. So if you just say it out loud in your head, it makes more sense, and it makes this system so much more powerful, because if there are no dependencies, it's so easy to see all the tasks you have to do, and it's so much more overwhelming because realistically it's not so simple that it's just a list of tasks. Like a lot of the times we have a lot of tasks that depend on each other, so that is where you can edit all the tasks. And if you're looking for a specific task that you want to edit, you can just search it right here so that you don't have to like go through your whole list. And yeah, that is pretty much it for dependencies. Moving on to our next section, we have overview. So like I said, this is just all the overview of your tasks. You don't have to actually plan things out here. You can edit them if you want. Like if you notice, oh my god, I actually have something else that has a much higher priority, you can edit the due dates and stuff, but you don't need to edit anything here. This is just like an overview of everything you have to do. So the first view we have is the upcoming tasks. So these are the days, basically your next week, broken down in the tasks that you've already scheduled. So this is today, and I don't really have much scheduled for the next couple of days because I kind of schedule the night before. I have a lot of things to do, but it's just not scheduled right now because I'm kind of doing it one evening at a time right now. But if you like to schedule ahead, you would have all your tasks here. So you can even plan out, like if you have a specific day that you do grocery shopping, if you have a specific day that you go to a Pilates class or go to your football practice or whatever, you can see all of that here, and it's basically just like an overview of your week and what has to get done. The next view that we have is priorities, and what we saw earlier, we had importance and urgency. So once you fill out importance and urgency, it's actually gonna tell you what priority that is on your list. So I have a formula that basically looks at your input and prioritizes it for you. So main priority are going to be tasks that are high importance and high urgency. Next up is going to be low importance and low urgency, and so on. So here it's just like a quick overview. If you just want to see all of the tasks that are your main priority, you can get a little overview. Also, what I actually really like using this for is the last priority that we have is hold off, and this is basically any task that is low importance and low urgency. So this is kind of the fun tasks. Like maybe you saw something on a TikTok, like plan out your life using this way, and you just kind of want to do it, but it's not really important and it's not really urgent, but it's just kind of fun. I like on the weekends when I just want to do something for fun, but I want to be like kind of productive. This is when I go into the hold off section, because these are like tasks that I just want to do for fun. So it doesn't mean like in the typical Eisenhower matrix, which is what I'm using my formula based off of, in that matrix, anything that is not important and not urgent, you're meant to delete. But like sometimes we just want to do things for fun. So this doesn't mean get rid of these tasks. It's just like hold off for a better time when maybe you're not so stressed out. The next few that we have are the due dates. This is very simple. This is any task that has a deadline, and you're gonna see it sorted by how close that deadline is. So you're gonna see the closest deadlines first and then the other ones later. And you can also schedule in a due date, like schedule in a day to do that task, but you don't need to. But this is just an overview of all of your deadlines. So our next view is quick wins. So this is any task that takes under 10 minutes, is high importance, and is also low effort. So it's a very specific filter, but I found that this was really nice for times where I feel like very overwhelmed by everything and I just need like very quick little tasks to do to make me feel good about myself. This is when I go in this section. So yeah, these are tasks that take under 10 minutes and they're very important. They have to get done, but they're literally gonna take you less than 10 minutes to do. So the next view is called high return on investment. So it's a little fancy way to say that this is any task that is important but low effort. So it's a very high return on investment because low effort means it's not a very complex task, doesn't take too much of your mind space up, but it's high importance, so high return on investment. The next view that we have is project. So this basically means any task that has any subtasks. So it's kind of like a project. It's not really a project, but anything that has more than one task is like a mini project. So let's say, for example, I have the task connect tasks page to 12-week year page because I love this tasks page and I love my 12-week year page, and I was thinking that if I connect them and I'm able to like have all my to-do lists but also connect it to all my goals, and then you can connect the tasks to goals, I think it could be a very, very, very powerful page. So I want to do that eventually, but it's a big task because each page is so big and it's so difficult to connect. So this task has 2 subtasks. So it's almost like a mini project because it consists of multiple steps. Right now there's only 2 steps written out. I'm sure that as I start working on it, there's going to be much more steps, but anything that has subtasks is going to be in the project section. And if you want to add some more subtasks to it, you can just press the button and add anything else you have to do. And the last view that we have is all the tasks that you have completed, and it's going to show you the ones that you completed most recently, and it's just like a quick little overview. And yeah, this is it for the overview section. And actually, before we move on to the next section, which is system health, I want to show you what it looks like when you open up the page of a task. So opening up this page right here, finish creating new version of 12-week year page, you're gonna see a quick little overview of everything you need to know about that task. So you can see the status, the importance, urgency, effort, and you can also see the due date that is scheduled to be done, the deadline, the tag, whether you want to add a subtask or if you want to let the system know that it takes less than 10 minutes. There's also some buttons here, not really necessary, but I love buttons. So I think it's kind of cute. Like if I wanted to quickly change this to low importance, instead of going here and clicking on it, I could just click here. Anyway, it's not necessary, but I love it. But important thing to note is there are now little sections, little tabbed groups that we have in each page in the database. So you don't only get to see this overview, you can also see the subtasks of this task. You can see what tasks it's blocked by and also what it's blocking. So all the info that you need to know about any task at any time, you can see if you just open up that page. So going one step at a time, if we open up the sub view, these are the subtasks of this task. So finish creating new version of 12-week year page. Again, it's a very big task. I created this page quite recently, but as I've been using it, I've noticed so many new things that I want to improve. So this is just like a beginning. These are like the first two things that I needed to do. I need to recreate the homepage and also the week views, but I also have so many ideas. I have like, I think like 9-10 things I wanted to change in that page. So I wanted to specifically make a plan of what I have to change first. So this is in the subtasks for this task, because until these are done, this cannot be done. So they're also actually blocking this task. So I cannot finish this task, this project, until I finish these subtasks. So this is why I tell you guys to use the subtask button instead of manually adding it in yourself, because when you use the subtask button, it automatically blocks this task. So I cannot finish this main project until all the little parts of my project are done, because that is how a project works. The next page is the parent page. So this is the parent task. This is empty because this is the parent task. So if we go into one of the subtasks, so let's open up the recreate homepage. This task doesn't have any subtasks because it is a subtask. But if you go into parent, the parent of this subtask is finish creating new version of 12-week year. And the next view that we have is blocking. So this page is blocking this task. Until this is done, this can't be done. But yeah, I just wanted to show you, because when you open up the page, it's not just going to be an empty page. Every single task, you get an overview of all the way that it's connected to any other task. Anyway, moving on to our last section, which is system health. We have 4 views, and the first one is due date error. So I kind of mentioned it earlier, but this example task, I set a due date for like a month away, but the status is done. Sometimes we just accidentally mark something as done and maybe the due date is far away, so it doesn't make any sense. So here, either the status should be not started because that date hasn't happened yet, or I need to change this date to like before today, because it doesn't make sense for this task to be done in the future. Like that doesn't make any sense. So ideally this view would be empty. If it's empty, it means there's no errors on this front. Next view that we have is missing info. So this is basically just like this needs sorting view. So if the effort, importance, urgency, or tags are empty, it's gonna show up in this area, but it's only in the inbox for 24 hours. So if you added in that task 5 days ago, it's not going to show up in your inbox, it's going to go here. So anything that doesn't have this info filled out is going to be here. This view also ideally would be empty. The next view that we have is unscheduled but urgent. This is technically not an error, like it's not a system error, but it's something that needs to be brought to your attention, because if something is urgent, you should probably schedule it. But obviously not always, because as you can see, as my example, I have a lot of things that are high urgency that I haven't scheduled, but it's important to go back and look at this, because truly, if you think about it, if something is urgent, it really should be scheduled. And the last view is big tasks with no subtasks. So these are tasks that have high effort, but they don't have any subtasks. Like they don't have any steps to it. It's just this one big task that takes high effort and you haven't really broken it down yet. So in my definition of effort and this template, high effort is something that is complex and requires multiple steps. So if it's very straight to the point, like maybe it's difficult for you, but it's like straight to the point, like there's no subtasks, I would put that as low effort. Yes, it can be difficult, yes, it can be time consuming, but if it doesn't have subtasks, it is going to be low effort. If something definitely has multiple steps to it, then it's going to be high effort. So what this basically means is when I was planning out these tasks, I said to the system that these tasks definitely need to be broken down, but I haven't broken them down yet. Anyway, the last thing I want to show you is we have 3 pages here. So we have edit all tasks, tasks, and archive tasks. So edit all tasks is if you want a complete full overview of all your tasks, not an overview of deadlines or what's coming up, like just like a full list of all your tasks. You will get it if you go into this page. Tasks is just the actual database of tasks. So it's basically almost the same as the page we just saw before, but this is the actual database. So that page, you can technically edit it, you can play with it, but this page, if you change something here, you might mess up the whole system. So this is the actual database. You can also see your dependencies here, and you can also see the calendar if you want to see an overview of what you're doing each day. And last but not least, we have archive tasks. So this is something I added in if you want to archive your tasks every month or every week. So as you saw earlier, we have this time spent thing. And the thing is, I've only been using this myself for a week, and I don't know, like if you're using this for a whole year, I feel like it's gonna get a little bit overwhelming. So what I'm planning to do is every week I'm planning to archive the tasks that I did from the week before, or if not every week, maybe every month. But what you can basically do is you can go into the overview section, go into the completed, select whatever you want to select, and you can just move this to archive tasks, and all the info is still going to be there. Like you're still going to keep the info of how long it took you to do each task, when you did it, how important, how urgent, all of that information is going to stay there, but it's just not going to be in your main page. So you're not going to be seeing it like up here and stuff. So yeah, that is the whole page. I know it seems like a lot, but again, day to day, you're only seeing today's flow. At the end of the day, you might check your inbox and planning. Overview and system health, technically you could easily just check this once a week if you wanted to, like if this feels a little bit overwhelming, and you can just close them down so that you're not having to see them all the time. So honestly, to me, it's just such a well-built system. I really love it, and I've been using it like religiously for the past week. And like I said earlier, I'm gonna be using it for a very, very long time. Until I think of something better, I'm gonna be using it for a very long time. Only thing is I might try to connect it, like I said earlier, to my 12-week year page. So it might be a tiny bit different, but I think connecting it to the 12-week year page is gonna take me a while. So for now, we're sticking with this. Last thing I want to go into before we finish is I want to go into the start here page. Usually in my Notion videos, we start with this, but in this case scenario, I actually thought it made it a little bit more confusing. Like if we were just setting up all the tasks for the first half of the video, I feel like it would have made it more confusing. Whereas now you know what it looks like when each task is like planned out and stuff, but now I'm gonna go through it with you as if you just got this page for the first time and you have all these tasks you need to do. This is what you actually start with. So step number one, you're gonna do a brain dump. Here you literally add in every single task that you feel like you have to do. This can be a tiny task like taking out the trash, or it can be a huge project idea that you have. Like it does not have to be organized well. It does not have to be on the same level of task. It could be like a huge idea that maybe is actually going to be like 90 tasks in total, but you haven't actually started thinking about it yet. You haven't started breaking it down. Like anything that is on your mind can go in here right now. Don't think about the format, anything, just brain dump. Step number two, we're going to evaluate whether it's low effort or high effort. And this is a very important thing because again, effort can have different meanings for different people. For this template to work in the best way possible for you, you need to think of effort as how complex is this task? Like how many steps does it have? If it's high effort, then it means that it's going to have multiple subtasks. If it's low effort, it's straight to the point. Like bake a cake is low effort. Like obviously there's steps to that because I have to like mix it and then bake it, but it's done as one task. Whereas for example, film a certain type of video, maybe I have to plan the video first, maybe I have to do this, maybe I have to do this. So if something has multiple steps, it's gonna go in high effort. The next step is to break it down. So any task that you just marked as high effort, this is gonna be the place where you can break it down. So we have the subtask button that for some reason right now is not working. It's literally always worked for me, and of course as soon as I start recording it's not working, but it's something to do with Notion. I'm gonna report it to them right now. But another way to do it is you just open this toggle, add a new sub item, and just change the effort to low, because if it's a subtask it's probably a low effort task. So this is where you're gonna break down any big task that has to get done and is overwhelming for you. Step 4 is where you're gonna set dependencies. So we're gonna do this again later, but this is just for the tasks that you just broke down. So say for example, the example that we had earlier, clean desktop, downloads and documents, let's say that that's a project. Technically I don't really care which one I do first, but let's say for some reason I need to clean my desktop first. So clean downloads and documents is blocked by clean desktop. So you're just gonna see all of your project tasks and see if any of the subtasks depend on each other being done. So step number 5 is to write out any fixed deadlines. So for example, if there's an exam that you need to study for, or you have a deadline to submit a project or something, these are like set in stone deadlines, and you're just gonna put in the deadline right here for whatever task. You don't have to fill it out for all of them, just whatever task has a deadline, this is where you put it in. Step 6 is where we prioritize by importance and urgency. So importance is how much does this task contribute to your goals, growth, or overall progress, and urgency is how urgent does it feel. Like I feel like this is very subjective, but yeah, urgency, does this task need to be done soon to avoid delays or missed opportunities. Step 7 is you're gonna self-set some deadlines for urgent tasks. So these are not official deadlines, but it's gonna show you all the tasks that you just marked as urgent, and it's gonna prompt you to give it a deadline. You don't have to give it a deadline, but you yourself just marked these tasks as urgent. So some of them probably should have a little bit of a deadline. Step 8 is categorizing the tasks by the area of life. So I only have 4 tags myself at this moment. So I have work, Notion, work admin, work content, and personal. And the only reason we actually use the tags is when we want to see the time tracking, like when you want to see where your time went. So you can make this as specific as you want, as non-specific as you want. Technically, you don't even have to fill out tags if you feel like it's not useful for you. For me, I like to see how much time I spent for each different area when I look over my week, but this is not necessary. But if you want to, there's some suggestions here. You can name some like school or work or personal or like social activities, whatever. It is up to you to make your tags because it's just different for every single person. Step 9 is review task dependencies. So we already kind of did this earlier, but we only did that for the high effort tasks that were like broken down into subtasks. So here is where you're going to see all your tasks. If you filled out the tags in the previous step, then you're going to see all your tasks here grouped by those tags. So I can see all of my admin tasks, and this is the area where I can kind of see, okay, do any of these have to be done before the other? And if it does depend on something, then I just read it out again. I go, for example, reply to all follow-up emails is blocked by da 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 da, which means that that task has to be done before I reply to all the follow-up emails. Step number 10 is where we fix inconsistencies. So we have 2 things that we check for here. So the first thing we have is urgent tasks with blockers. So this is any task that is high urgency or it has a deadline, and it's dependent on another task that has low urgency. So sounds confusing when I say it, but let's see an example. For example, I want to write out all the due dates that I have for my new videos and if there are any deadlines for sponsors, but in order to do that, I have to update the content database, and that is marked as a high urgency task. I have to do that ASAP, and the task that it's blocked by is update properties and database, because basically the database that I have for all that info, I need to update it because it's been a while since I've changed it and it's not that good anymore, and the urgency of this task is low. So basically this high urgency task is dependent on this task that is low urgency. So it makes no sense. This task therefore is probably high urgency as well. Like I need to get this done ASAP so that I can get this one done. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna open up this page and I'm gonna just change the low urgency to high, and this disappears from the list. And the next view we have is high effort tasks without subtasks. This is high effort and high urgency. So any task that is high urgency and high effort means that it needs to be done ASAP and it's a big task that needs to be broken down. But if there's no subtasks, you need to quickly break that down. So I don't have any here right now because all of mine that are high effort, high urgency already are broken down. But if you do have some tasks here, then I would recommend to break them down into a couple subtasks. Step 11 is a very quick one. So this is where you just go through your whole list and see if any task takes less than 10 minutes. If it takes less than 10 minutes, you just click the button, it automatically does it. That's it. And the final step is when you start to finally schedule out the tasks. So based on all the info you just put in there, so the urgency, the importance, the effort, everything, there's going to be a formula to sort it by the priority. So the highest priority will show up first, and then the deadlines show up, and it's kind of all in order. So everything I'm seeing at the top here are things that are high importance, high urgency, and have a deadline. So these are the ones that are probably taking up the most mental space in my mind and are stressing me out the most. So these are things I should be doing first. If you want, you can actually skip the step and go straight to the main page, and you can just start planning from the inbox. But once you set it up for the first time, you're basically just going to be adding in tasks through the quick capture. Or maybe, for example, like if I want to add a subtask here, I'm going to add it through this page. But usually I'm just using quick capture and then I'm going into inbox and I'm sorting it. The start here page only basically has to be used in the beginning, and yeah, that is the whole page. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but if you got all the way through to the end, then thank you for watching. I really hope you like this page. The link to get this page is going to be in the description below if you want to get it. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know, because I know it may seem like a lot the first time you watch it, but honestly, once you start using it, it's very, very, very simple to use, and I've just found that it has been so useful for me. One random tip before we go actually is for the time tracking. If you're using this with your Notion calendar, like I said, I use my Notion calendar every single day, and for those of you that don't know, Notion has their own calendar. You can connect your Notion to the calendar, and you can actually connect this task database to your calendar so that you can see all these tasks on your calendar and how long it took you to do each one. So if you want to do that, if you use Notion calendar, this is a little tip for you before we go. As you can see, whenever I start the task, it automatically gives it a start time, and this is how it starts time tracking. And when I end the task, it disappears from this view because it goes into completed, and then it goes right here. It automatically sets an end time for like when I pressed end time, and it says that it took me 1 hour 42 minutes to do this task. But the due date is the date that's actually connected to the calendar, and as you can see, it just says I started at 2:49, but it doesn't say what time I stopped, and that is currently a Notion limitation right now. I cannot do anything about that, so that's why I'm adding this as a little tip. But if you are using Notion calendar and you want to track every task on your Notion calendar, then you just look at your end time. So I can see that I finished at 4:31. I quickly open this, I put end date, I put 4:31. Yes, it takes an extra 15 seconds, but for those of us that like to also organize our Notion calendar, it's worth it. It takes 10 seconds each time. And now it's gonna accurately show up on my Notion calendar as like how long it took me to do. And actually, another thing, which is probably what I should have mentioned first, is how do you connect this to your Notion calendar? What you're gonna do is you're gonna open System Health, you're gonna go into the tasks page because this is the database, and you're gonna go into the calendar view and you're gonna press open in calendar. When you do open in calendar, if you already have Notion calendar like downloaded and signed in and everything, then it's gonna take a couple of minutes, but it's gonna connect and all of your tasks are gonna show up on your calendar. If you don't have Notion calendar, it's gonna probably put you through like download it first, sign in, do all of that. So you might have to go back and click it again, but if you have all that set up, then you just have to open in calendar once and it connects. So yeah, that is it for my master to-do list Notion page. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you have any questions. And again, thank you guys for watching this long video. Yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out. Much love.